Hello, I'm your host, Samuel Thomas, and welcome to Between the Lines. Today we have a special edition of Between the Lines. Want to get those young people in your life, the children specifically, between the ages of 10 and 14, to connect with you? Well, tell them to gather around, watch this program, because they have been wondering who these great people are behind the scenes who write Guide. Guide is that famous, maybe I didn't hold that up long enough, Guide. This is the famous magazine that your 10 to 14-year-olds love. And in fact, we've even had here on the set the testimony of adults who like it too. I want to share with you two people that make Guide a reality and bring all the happiness and joy and the stories to your Sabbath school children and as well to the 10 to 14s in general. Randy Fishell, the editor, and Rachel Witaker, associate editor. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Guide. How long has it been in existence?
Well, it's been in existence longer than I have, and that is 1953 it started, and we've been fortunate to have a lot of stories and games and activities and all kinds of things down through the years from a lot of well-known names. A lot of our viewers probably will remember names such as Josephine Cunnington Edwards, Lawrence Maxwell, and on it goes. And we feel very, very privileged to be part of that legacy, to be honest with you.
Guide is a special magazine. It's a magazine that really targets 10 to 14-year-olds in a special way. What is the objective when you sit down to write Guide?
I think probably more than anything, we want to use primarily stories to connect young people with a positive portrait of Jesus Christ. That really is what it's all about. Now, in the process, of course, we want to have a lot of fun taking them to that goal. I think back in the first issue, actually, of Guide, back in 1953, I was going back through some old issues some time ago. And there, the original editor, Lawrence Maxwell, had written in his editorial that the goal of then Junior Guide was to guide young people all the way from earth to heaven. And I kind of think that's hard to improve on that, to be honest with you. He put it very succinctly, and that's really what we're all about, trying to show young people along the way that there are choices to be made, and there are consequences to those choices. And depending on the choices they do make, they will reap those consequences. And we want to demonstrate just how to get to the more positive side of things when making those kinds of choices.
Now, Rachel, you have been a part of this team for a little while now, and you actually got your start from writing in this particular guide that I held up for our viewers way back in '96. Tell us about how you started writing for Guide.
Well, as a kid, I loved to read Guide. I loved to read anything with words on it, pretty much. And Guide was one of my favorites. So I guess as I got older, writing was something that I enjoyed doing. And I came up with an idea, and I thought, hey, this would be a great story for Guide. So when I was in college, I sent that off to the magazine, and Randy was actually the associate editor at that time. Of course, I didn't know him then. But fortunately, my story was accepted for publication. That was the first story I had ever tried to get published. So I guess if it had been rejected, who knows where I would be today. But
things would be different.
So I wrote a few stories over the years, and it's exciting to be part of the ministry full time.
Wonderful. Well, tell me, what exactly do you do as associate editor?
Well, Randy and I work together very closely on a lot of the same things, but we start out with all the manuscripts, the stories that are sent in by writers from all across the country and even other parts of the world. Read all of those that are sent in, decide which ones are a good fit for our magazine. And from there, we put different stories into each issue, edit the whole thing, look at it at different stages of production as it goes along the way, help to shape the art and the look of each magazine. And 6 months later, you have a guide at your church or in your home.
Randy, I want to pick up on that. That's an interesting perspective because I don't know if many of our viewers know that it actually takes 6 months to move from the concept, or maybe I could use this word, theme, for a particular issue, all the way to the finished product, such as what I have here in my hand.
Right. Yeah, we start, of course, as Rachel said, with sometimes an idea or a story lead. Perhaps somebody has sent us something from another publication, maybe something came across a newswire someplace. They might give us a little tip on, hey, this might make a good guide story. So we'll pick up on it from there. We do work with a lot of different authors, but we do have a certain, what is called a stable of authors as well, that we like to communicate with regularly because we know their work, we know the quality, the level of their writing skill. And so it does sometimes take, sometimes people are surprised when they find out that, well, I sent you that story, at a certain time, and what do you mean it's not going to show up in the magazine for another half a year or a year? But that's the way it works. We have, I should interject right here that I have a lot of admiration for newspapers that are having to turn around news stories, in a matter of hours sometimes. We don't have that kind of pressure, but we do have, we believe, a significant task in that we want to accurately reflect not only the content of the story, but the character of Christ in each of those stories as well.
Now, how do you go about picking themes? Because I'm sure since Guide goes as far as it does, which I'd like for you to address in your answer as well, how can you pick themes that will resonate with the different people groups and the different geographical areas where Guide lands?
I think that that's probably one of the most significant challenges that we face, trying to reach a different people group, different age levels, so that we are indeed accomplishing the task at hand. We try to pay a lot of attention to research. We want to be aware of current news stories. But Samuel, it's interesting that through the years, I've been at Guide about 19 years now, that through the years we've noticed that while the different gimmicks, the gizmos, and a lot of things change, there are certain things that just don't really change through the ages, and that's what's deep inside a young person's heart. And when that heart is breaking, we want to be able to step in with Christ's healing power and love. And so, to answer your question about how do we respond and address a wide age range and a wide ethnic range, different things like that, we really try to move toward the needs that are enduring, I guess is how I would say it. And so we find that that helps us in that task.
How many different places does Guide go?
It goes all the way around the world, really, in various forms. Now, of course, we have a very active website as well, www.guidemagazine.org. But you can find Guide. I've seen pictures of people in Africa holding up their guides and letting me know that they're enjoying it over there.
Is there a Guide club? Because there's so many people who are into Guide. Rachel, maybe you can answer that for us.
Well, that's one of the things that we have on our website, which Randy just mentioned, guidemagazine.org. We have what's called the Cyber Club, and that's something where kids can interact a little bit in a virtual world. We used to have as many people what we call the pen pal column in Guide, and I'm one of the people that had a pen pal or two as a kid. Today, things have changed a little bit, but we want to still give kids a chance to have some connections with other kids, and especially as Adventists, to meet other kids who share their faith. And the Cyber Club has really been a neat part of our website. One of the most popular parts of the website is our discussion board, and they have to be a member of the club in order to post things there, and so they can put questions or thoughts and other kids can respond. And there's really a lot of neat ministry going on there where kids are having challenges in their family or their faith or church, whatever it might be, and other kids jump in there and give them suggestions, and it's really neat to see them helping each other that way.
That's good. Real quickly, how many people per day on your site?
Per day on our site. I think our current traffic per month is about 200,000 page views.
That's exciting.
And about 3,000 unique visitors.
That's really exciting.